Hi everyone. So I'm really, really sorry. I did actually film part three as an hour long recording, but I kind of noticed that my microphone had actually run out of charge. So I had to clip it halfway through at the 28-minute mark, which was just devastating because there was no audio. I checked it before I uploaded it and there was no audio. So I'm going back to where I left off. And I'll just have to, I'll just continue in our increments from here on. Okay, so we are at this point here. Lively urged Hoover, as well as her famous friends, including Matt and Lucy Damon, Ben Affleck, Bradley Cooper, and Taylor Swift, to support her version of the film over Baldoni's. For instance, in April 26th, 2024 messages, Lively and Swift discussed a plan to use Swift's song in the film's trailer. Swift wrote, if Justin was strategic, he would be like, no Taylor Swift in the trailer, because that gives you more power over the film. That's your ally, not his. Lively responded, you're so right. He should have run from your music. How stupid. This was his only shot at having the appearance of an upper hand. This is what I did last time. Sorry. I am going to repeat my reactions because actually I still can't believe that they shared these messages. What a nasty set. And there it is right there. The appearance of an upper hand. That's just absolutely shocking. And she doesn't dispute it because she can't. She can't. That text message is there. I cannot wait to go and when I go through her text messages, I'm really going to enjoy it. Okay, on May 30th, 2024, Josh Greenstein, the president of Sony's Motion Picture Group, informed Lively that Baldoni's cut had scored higher than Lively's in-audience testing. This was shocking. Lively responded, spoke with Colleen. She feels like I do. Still full steam ahead with my cut. This was after promising that, if Justin scored higher, she would make way and let his cut be released. Now she's like, nope. Me and Colleen, no, we've already made our decision. Colleen and I are now declaring now. This is the cut. It's done from my perspective, from Colleen's, and from Taylor's. What the fuck Taylor has to do with this, I don't know. Sorry, but I don't know why she's getting input into any of this. And then she asks with a question mark, and from Sony's? Lively does not dispute it. Again, she can't. But yeah, if you listen to her, she claims that Baldoni had this big power imbalance. Lively also demanded changes to the film's credit, including moving up her name ahead of Heath's as a producer, changing the order of cast credits contrary to existing contractual terms, and removing the It Ends With Us was a film by Baldoni. She disputes it on the basis that she made requests and they were granted. So that's what I call splitting the atom. That's just ridiculous. Okay, you requested it and you got your way. She also disputes that the paragraph quoted does not suggest that Baldoni did not waive his credit of his own volition. I think it's quite clear that he did not do that. Because we've seen the text anyway from Sony where they say, Justin's got to relinquish his a film by credit, and Jamie's like, oh, hold on, can we call about it and have a discussion? And then another Sony executive who I can't remember who that is, then turns around and says, look, if you don't, we're not going to get Taylor Swift song, right? Blake will just pull the Taylor Swift song. Are you going to be like that? Are you going to be difficult? And it's something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but it was a very threatening. Sony got quite threatening towards Wayfarer. So we know that he did not relinquish that of his own volition. That's just horseshit. Okay, Lively further objected to Baldoni's name being included on the trailer and near her name on the film's promotional poster. Blake didn't want his name by her name. She did not feel comfortable having his name by her name. Undisputed that Lively did not wish to jointly promote the film with Baldoni. Lively had concerns that appearing alongside or promoting the film with Baldoni would falsely indicate to others that I endorsed his work. Any previous that's talking about, that's saying that, and that comment there is in first person. Why is that in first person? Should be she. Lively had concerns that appearing alongside or promoting the film with Baldoni would falsely indicate to others that I endorsed his work, any previous misbehavior, or the way he treated women, and worried that others may view my public association with him as an implicit stamp of approval or trust. Oh, it's the Lively declaration that's come from. Okay. Her response disputed the posters that she worked on included Baldoni's image. The poster that Sony ultimately selected as the hero poster for the film was a book cover that Sony had created, which always featured Lively's image exclusively. Sony used the book cover as a temporary poster for Book Bonanza, decorating the theatre in hundreds of them without Lively's prior knowledge. Yeah, sure it was without your prior knowledge. Given the stellar success of the event and the ecstatic audience reaction all round, they sought to replicate everything about the success of that event, including by selecting that book cover to remain as the hero poster for the film. Lively both worked on and pushed for marketing materials that included the character of Ryle. On or about June 25th, 2024, in connection with her work on the film, Lively sought official recognition of her work from the Producers Guild of America. Her letter details extensive control over the film, including in post-production. She wrote, "I produced every moment of this film from pre-production through production into post and now into marketing and worldwide release. So much has changed, the most significant being that the cut of the film that was selected to be released is my cut." No, it wasn't selected. You told Sony that, you weren't going to budge. Colleen Hoover wasn't going to budge. Taylor Swift wanted your cut. Are you fucking kidding me? Among other things, Lively stated, "After working with the film's original editor, I worked with my own editors from May 2nd onward. I brought on a new composer and hand-selected 90% of the songs in the film. I've been working on the visual effects, overseeing every shot that makes it into the film. The cut of the film that I led was selected as the version of the film that will be released." You notice that she claims it was Sony's cut. She keeps calling it Sony's cut. But when Sony are saying, well, actually, Justin's did better, she's like, no, my cut. We're not moving on this. It's my cut. Just going back, yeah. Full steam ahead with my cut. I thought it was Sony's cut. Really, according to Lively in her complaint, it's Sony's cut. So now we know the truth behind that. The production supervisor wrote, she does not dispute that, by the way, the PGA letter. The film's post-production supervisor wrote, "For the last 3 months of the post process, Lively has been involved in reshaping every aspect of the film, including the final locked edit, the sound, the VFX, the score, and song choices. She hired a new editor who she has been working with around the clock to re-edit and lock the film." Rehired with whose money? She made all the decisions on where and when the last few previews would take place. She has been overseeing all approvals of visual effects. This is what I mean, right? She got it into the 17-point demands that she can hire, a new editor, a new producer, a new composer, and all this crap, right? It's under the guise of, it's for safety for everyone, right? But here it is. It's all in the PGA. Oh, yeah, but I hired an editor and I worked on the clock with them. That 17-point list of demands, as I have said in the next post in graphic detail, all that ever was her pathway to the PGA credit. All of this has been for the PGA credit. She does not dispute this. Lively asserts that she was heavily involved in developing the marketing strategy for the film. Undisputed, Lively was involved with the film's marketing, but disputed as to the characterization she was heavily involved in developing the marketing strategy, which is argumentative and unsupported by the cited evidence. Exhibit 39 indicates that Lively's involvement with marketing began with the film's trailer, not with developing the overall strategy, which began in January 2023 and did not include Lively. Josh Greenstein, president of Sony's Motion Picture Group, wrote that Lively has been involved in every decision when it comes to dating the movies and determining the release pattern. She might be the best marketer of any producer I've worked with. We have marketing calls daily. Well, again, that's undisputed. Lively told renowned playwright Sarah Rule, I have been re-editing the entire film. I brought on my composer and whole team to redo everything. Undisputed. Okay, after the conclusion of filming and leading up to the premiere, Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds openly attacked and disparaged Baldoni, seeking to tarnish his reputation, including among their famous and powerful friends. Okay, etc., etc. For instance, on May 19th, Lively and Reynolds, 2024, Lively and Reynolds pressed Matt and Lucy Damon to support Lively's cut of the film. Reynolds told them that Baldoni was a malignantly, God, it's too late for this, vain, sociopathic feminist with almost no sense of boundaries or shame. I cannot believe he hasn't gone to jail. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, that's defamation. The same day, Lively wrote Ben Affleck seeking his support. She described Baldoni as a chaotic clown director and said there were wild HR issues on set. On May 24th, 2024, Lively wrote to fellow cast member Brandon Sklenar, the word is out about Baldoni and Heath. They wreak havoc everywhere they go and everyone sees it. They come to me. On June 19th, 2024, Lively exchanged messages with Colleen Hoover and another prominent author, Taryn Fisher, in which Lively openly criticized Baldoni and labeled him a narcissist. Interestingly enough, right, Colleen Hoover took exception to Justin Baldoni basically saying, and this is quoted from Isabella Ferrer's deposition, Baldoni apparently said, I'm not saying they're narcissist, that Lively's a narcissist, but she has narcissistic tendencies or traits, something like that it was. And Hoover felt uncomfortable and was outraged and, blah, 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 and uninvited him from Book Bonanza because of that. But it's okay. She's perfectly fine with Blake Lively calling Baldoni a narcissist. Seeking a broader audience, Lively conveyed her negative views of the production to Anna Wintour, Vogue's world-famous editor. Message from Anna Wintour to Lively referring to how hard a situation it was for you to make this film. So Lively's response, undisputed that the quoted language appears in private conversations with friends and co-workers, but disputed that Lively and Reynolds openly attacked and disparaged Baldoni with the purpose of tarnishing his reputation in Hollywood. Well, what else could you infer from that comment about him? The cited evidence demonstrates Lively was sharing her truthful story of harassment by Baldoni and Heath and seeking support from friends and colleagues, not seeking to tarnish Baldoni's reputation. Retelling friends incidents endured were weeks before shooting and right after Blake had given birth to our son, Baldoni had asked her trainer about her weight and Baldoni telling Lively that he speaks to her deceased father often. Lively seeking support on a project that was the most upsetting experience I'd ever had on a movie. Despite her experiences, Lively told her colleague that she had been protecting it from getting out because all I want to do is focus on the work and not be pulled into the fucking mess they make. Fisher, without prompting, reaching her own conclusion that Baldoni is a sociopath. A friend whom Lively confided in expressing support in light of how hard a situation it was for you. During the relevant period, Baldoni, Reynolds, and Lively were all represented by WME, a famous and powerful talent agency. Undisputed that WME represented Lively and Reynolds during the relevant period, and that WME represented Mr. Baldoni from 2019 through on or around December 22nd, 2024. Disputed on the grounds that the relevant time period extends beyond December 22nd, 2024. Oh, I think this is the one we've all been waiting for. What did Ryan Reynolds say to who at WME? On July 13th, 2024, Reynolds wrote Patrick Whitesell, executive chairman of WME, describing Baldoni as a thoroughbred, predatory fraudster and requesting that Baldoni's WME agent Danny Greenberg be enlisted to present options, including, among others, having Baldoni write 15-page apology letters to Blake and dozens of other folks from the film. What? Who needs a 15-page apology letter? This is why WME tried to get Patrick Whitesell's text messages redacted, tried to keep them sealed. Again, that's defamation, fraudster. That's got nothing to do with, I just believe my wife. I think Judge Lyman, I mean, we thought this at the time. I think it's now sort of being confirmed, really, with these messages, that he was a bit hasty to dismiss Reynolds, certainly to dismiss him with prejudice. Okay. So now talking about Book Bonanza, the unredacted bit. At the event, Hoover and Lively pointedly avoided even referring to Baldoni by name. Book Bonanza was an annual fundraising event to support the non-profit organisation Bookworm Box, which was founded by Hoover. Book Bonanza took place June 13th to 15th, 2024. The reason for Baldoni's absence is a disputed fact. Farah testified that Hoover didn't feel comfortable doing the festival with him anymore, leading to Hoover disinviting him, and that was, again, over what Baldoni and he said at that dinner, where they referred to Blake Lively's behaviour. However, Hoover testified that Sony or someone decided which of them would go, because at this point Baldoni and Lively wouldn't be together in the same location. I dispute that a little bit. Baldoni had no problem being in a room with Lively. It was, Lively was the one with the issue. Either way, someone Isabella Farah's version, I think, is more accurate, because Isabella Farah says that she uninvited Justin because of the things Justin was saying about Blake, and then invited Blake. Blake then, in turn, invited Brandon Sklenar and Isabella Farah. I'm not inclined to say, unless Sony was pressured by Lively, I'm not inclined to agree that Sony decided one of them would go and just defaulted to Lively, because that's just ridiculous. Lively and others were aware that the media, including social media, was picking up on Lively's efforts to alienate Baldoni from the cast and film while generating adverse publicity about Baldoni. For instance, on July 11th, 2024, the book's author Colleen Hoover sent Lively an image of a post from Demois, a gossip blog with 2 million followers, noting that Baldoni had been excluded from all press for the film and that Lively had unfollowed him on social media. B. On July 29th, 2024, Sony executives discussed numerous comments on Lively's Instagram account, observing that Baldoni had been absent from the press for the film. Lively's response: undisputed that Hoover sent Lively a screenshot of a post from Demois, although she sent it on July 12, 2024, that noted Baldoni was missing from the film's press and that Lively doesn't follow him on Instagram. And on July 29th, 2024, Sony executives internally circulated comments posted on Lively's Instagram account observing that Baldoni had been absent from press for the film. Otherwise disputed because the evidence-dependent site does not support their assertions or characterizations that 1. Lively made efforts to alienate Baldoni. 2. There was adverse publicity about Baldoni at the time. I mean, there was. 3. Demois had or has 2 million followers. Or, and I think that's supposed to be 4, the Demois post suggested that Baldoni was excluded from all press or that Lively had unfollowed Baldoni. On or about July 22nd, 2024, Lively insisted to Sony that she would not attend the film's premiere if Baldoni was present as well, and she encouraged the book's author and other cast members to take the same position. Disputed, Lively told Sony that she didn't want to be on the red carpet in photos or seated near Baldoni during the premiere, an obvious extension of her clear boundary to not appear in promotion with Mr. Baldoni due to how he treated women in connection with the film. And then there's a quote: she definitely had concerns about not wanting to appear as somebody endorsing a filmmaker that people, let alone other women, should be working with in the future. Lively did not encourage Miss Hoover or any other cast member to take the same position. Although numerous women associated with the film independently decided they would not appear in promotion with Baldoni. Slate deciding a year prior that she did not want to promote the film with Baldoni or Heath without having discussed with Lively. Why did she need to discuss with Lively a year prior? Noting that writer Christy Hall would not do press with Baldoni, acknowledging Sachs would not go to the premiere. Following the premiere, Baldoni was excluded from a sizzle reel, wherever that is, promoting the film by showing attendees. It is undisputed that Sony's executive Greenstein instructed the electronic press kit team to not include Baldoni in the premiere sizzle reel. If that's true and that did not come from any pressure from Lively, I think that's disgraceful. I'm sorry. I don't care who she's married to or, how much of a bigger star she is she's considered as. Justin Baldoni optioned the book, owned the rights to the book. His production studio financed the film and was actually paying more than Sony by the sounds of it. He starred in the film. He was a director. Why would you not include him in this premiere reel? It's just disgraceful. Wayfarer were concerned that any adverse media would harm the reputation and success of the film. Okay. Undisputed that they were concerned about the reputation and success of the film, but the above is misleading because it admits Baldoni had so much fear of Lively coming out and going public about how he is a bad person and unsafe and not who he says he is. There's a quote: she had the nuclear bomb. If she doesn't promote the movie, she can leak that I'm a bad person or that she felt unsafe with me and all the stuff she has on me. On July 24th, 2024, Heath and Jen Abel agreed that we should not be doing anything proactive. That was disputed. On July 30th, 2024, Wayfarer president Tara Hanks wrote to Stephanie Jones, Melissa Nathan would not be having any comms outside of our internal teams. She would be working through scenario planning with us to be armed if needed. Undisputed that the quoted language appears, but disputed that Nathan did not have communications outside of the internal Wayfarer team, as she reported speaking to her contacts at the Daily Mail and Demois as early as August 4th, 2024. On August 4th, 2024, TAG employees exchanged messages discussing the need to explain to Heath and Jen ahead of time not to get hyper-focused on document because they can't get stuck on something that might change. That's undisputed. On or about August 7th, 2024, additional cast members unfollowed Baldoni on social media at Lively's prompting. McGinn, who I think is from Sony, the unfollowing has really picked up today. And Alex Sachs responds, "Why did everyone have to fucking do that? It's Blake, I'm sure." Her response disputed Lively did not cause or suggest that other cast members stop following Baldoni on social media. On or about August 8th, 2024, Leslie Sloan told Sarah Nathan, a gossip reporter, that the whole cast isn't speaking with Baldoni. Sloan testified that she provided this information to soften up and balance out the story that the reporter was working on, which she anticipated would be negative about Justin and Blake. That's undisputed. Sloan also told Sarah Nathan that Lively and Baldoni had separate screening rooms at the premiere. Everyone but him was with the cast. His cult had their own room. I find that really distasteful. I can't believe she's referring to his religious beliefs as a cult so openly as well. Sloan testified that she provided this information to balance the reporter's story. Undisputed that Sloan told Nathan that Baldoni had separate screening rooms at the premiere. Everyone but him was with the cast. His cult had their own room, so they're not disputing that at all. But disputed that the testimony defendant's site supports the assertion that Sloan provided that information to balance Nathan's story. I mean, the testimony that they're citing is from Sloan. She says, and she's quoted as saying, she provided the information to balance this reporter's story. Sarah Nathan is the reporter. I don't understand what the dispute is about, to be honest. On August 8th, Sloan communicated with James Fatuska. Oh, God. A gossip reporter at the Daily Mail. Sloan denied that there was any power struggle between Lively and others on set. Well, that's true. Lively had all the power. That Lively and Reynolds had insisted on rewriting the movie. I mean, they did. And that Lively got very opinionated over directorial issues. Again. Sloan told Batuska his sources were lying, although she did not know whether her denials were accurate at the time. I mean, is that undisputed? We've seen Lively's own PGA letter says she rewrote the movie, that she had the power over it pretty much. The same day, Sloan complained to Danny McGinn, a Sony marketing executive, that Stephanie Jones, then a member of Baldoni's press team, had been calling around saying Blake stuff, which included that Blake and Ryan insisted on rewriting the movie and that she got very opinionated over directorial issues and that Justin found her difficult, blah, blah. That's undisputed. Oh, Sloan. Oh, they confirmed that Stephanie Jones did make that contact. That, the one that pissed Wayfarer off. Stephanie Jones denied it, but actually, Danny McGinn, Sloan complained to Sony that Stephanie Jones had been saying stuff about Blake. Wow. Okay. Heath wrote to Jones, I remind us all not to contact, respond, or reply to anyone under any circumstances. Undisputed. It does not, but there is disputed because the document cited does not support the remaining assertions, including because Abel and Nathan do not appear on the communication. Further disputed to the extent the fact suggests Jones did in fact contact press about Lively, which Jones denies. Okay. That day, Lively's agent wrote to Lively, I just read the Daily Mail article. I feel it puts enough out there. Undisputed. Sony executives believe the Daily Mail article was planted by Lively's PR representative, Sloan. Undisputed, on August 9th, 2024, one Sony executive, Grant, expressed her opinion to other Sony executives that the source in the Daily Mail article was Sloan, but otherwise disputed because Sloan has never seeded or planted a story. Okay, so now we're talking about the engagement of Jed Wallace. I'm just going to read the highlighted bits. Email writing that Wallace is aware we are going for their quote 2 option for $30,000 per month for 3 months. Quote 2 was for the creation of social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change narrative and stay on track, as well as a lot more that would be easier to discuss via phone in terms of capabilities. That same day, Wallace told Wayfarer, "This is our wheelhouse and have it prioritized across all platform-specific specialists working for me." Wallace reported to Wayfarer that his team has been in full throttle mode on its Wayfarer focus. Okay, so what I will say there is Wayfarer have never denied that they've kind of been prepared in case they needed to do anything, but they didn't have to do anything. So I don't see this as a smoking gun myself. Okay, Wallace has testified that his firm did not surreptitiously spread negative information about Lively and has no ability to do so, describing Street Relations' capabilities in the digital space as minimal and limited to monitoring. Her response: "No, a lot of this is stuff about his clients, past clients or current clients. It is not about Wayfarer for the most part." Okay, so there's scopes of work from Nathan and Street. Okay, and we have some quotes. I have the forensic guys rewriting and then the client's name is redacted, image metadata. We are suppressing those posts, links, articles too. I have the various teams heavily clipping and algorithm boosting it for you, and all the keywords I've got trending for you. I need to be able to throw a ton of upvotes at stuff that is rah 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 for redacted and need to downvote everything else. This is exactly the kind of content that our team can elevate across all algorithmically driven platforms. We are undoing years of suppression related to your name and all related handles. Again, this is not Wayfarer. Use our team of specialists to build all the digital Reddit site, X, 4chan, Discord, etc. messaging to trend and dominate in clients' favor. And there's a scope of work prepared by Tag and Wallace for, and then it's redacted. Performing digital services for, redacted. Performing digital services for, redacted. Katie Case informing Wallace that Wayfarer would like to move forward ASAP with social/digital mitigation and remediation. Mitigation does not sound offensive. It sounds like it's defensive. Wallace to Heath, this is our wheelhouse and have it prioritized across all platform-specific specialists working for me. Case tells Abel they had flagged a creator posting negative Baldoni content to Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side. Okay, but that's negative content about Baldoni. Thank the Lord for Jed. Thank the Lord for social and digital mitigation. That's us, lol. Again, mitigation. Not retaliation, mitigation. Started to see a shift on social, due largely to Jed and his team's effort to shift the narrative. Finding evidence of inauthentic activity, TikTok. Finding evidence of inauthentic activity, Reddit. Finding evidence of inauthentic activity, YouTube. Finding indicia of inauthenticity/manipulation. Okay. Enough of that. I'm not saying that Jed Wallace hasn't got the ability to do some of the things that, Lively is alleging, although I'm not entirely sure Lively knows what she's alleging. I'm sure he can get creative on social media. But that does not prove he did do anything untoward towards Lively. I've not seen evidence of it. I keep an open mind, because he has got a bit of a unsavory background in some of the things. He has done some shady stuff, but I have not seen evidence of him doing it on Wayfarer's behalf to, against Lively. Right, okay. August 2024, Baldoni himself repeatedly made positive comments about Lively in the press. For example, Baldoni told Entertainment Tonight that he thought Lively was ready to direct. Undisputed. Disputed that this comment can be characterized as a positive comment about Lively when the public connected this statement to rumors that said Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively wanted to take over the scripts, or they made so many edits. Well, I'm sorry. She said in her PGA letter she took over the script and rewrote the whole thing. She said it to her friends. That is not false. They did. Ryan Reynolds rewrote a script. She said it. I find it hilarious that they now, stressing out over statements that they themselves have actually made. Melissa Nathan confirmed to Sloan that she was not seeding or planting negative press about Blake Lively on Justin's behalf. Undisputed, Nathan told Sloan that she was not going to plant or seed or plant negative press about Blake Lively on Justin's behalf, but Sloan believed Nathan was doing so based on Nathan sharing with her that Baldoni is somewhat of an idiot and did stupid things, and that's why she's here to clean them up. I don't feel that's evidence of anything, and that's just put in there for PR. Nathan also told her own sister, gossip reporter Sarah Nathan, that she had not contacted reporters on Baldoni's behalf and did not intend to do so. Undisputed that Nathan told her sister that she had not contacted reporters on Baldoni's behalf. However, evidence shows that she had spoken to reporters, including at the Daily Mail, regarding Baldoni prior to August 8th, 2024. I mean, so had Leslie Sloan. A gossip reporter, James Vituska, separately told Sloan that Nathan had never planted anti-Lively stories with the Daily Mail. Undisputed that Vituska told Sloan that Nathan had not done anything anti-Blake. However, evidence shows that Tag placed at minimum 2 negative stories regarding Lively with the Daily Mail. Is that supposed to be the global smear campaign? 2 stories? We haven't seen the stories. I don't know what that means, so we'll have to go through that. Baldoni believed there was a truce between his PR team and Lively's which would inure to the benefit of the film. That's disputed. On August 10th, 2024, Baldoni was informed that there had been a shift on social, due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. And in the days following, Baldoni and Abel instructed Tag and the digital team to boost and amplify negative content regarding Miss Lively while simultaneously amplifying pro-Baldoni content. I mean, that doesn't... Yeah, but how does that respond to his belief that there had been a truce between his PR team and Lively? I don't know. Okay. On August 13th, 2024, in an analysis of the social media sentiment regarding the film, a Sony executive observed some younger audiences felt Justin spoke to the DB subject matter more seriously, whilst others criticized Blake's approach, including the focus on her outfits and hair care company and co-promotion of the film with Brian. Undisputed that the quoted language appears in the cited source alongside Small's observation that negativity around Blake was most prominent on Twitter and TikTok, while Facebook and Instagram were much more supportive overall. Again, I'm not sure how that responds to the point, though. You know, she's just saying, oh, well, it was more negative on these sites than this site. But the point was, you know, people felt that Justin spoke to the DB subject matter more seriously, while she was criticised for focusing on outfits and hair care. It's almost like she's arguing that Facebook and Instagram were more supportive, like you're undermining your own smear campaign allegations here. Okay. On the same day, Lively wrote to another male cast member, "We are each looking to post resources for people experiencing DB and should fill you in more first if you want to post also." The cast member responded, "Great, definitely getting hit with comments." Disputed. The message Lively wrote was, "FYI, we are each looking to post resources for people experiencing DB. I can and should fill you in more first if you want to post also." On or about August 19th, 2024, NBC reached out to Lively Scene for comment about an article on survivors of domestic violence who had a negative reaction to her preferred promotion of the film as a fun summer romance, as well as Reynolds' involvement and Lively's cross-promotion with his film, which was, you know, a rather violent film. It was R-rated. Disputed. On August 19th, 2024, an NBC reporter reached out about writing a story looking at how domestic violence survivors feel about the marketing around the film. The film's marketing strategy was developed by Sony and Wayfarer and was not Lively's preferred promotion. Prior to these events, Lively had been criticized for getting married on a former slave plantation during the height of the 2020 Black Lives Matter protest. In August 2024, criticism of that decision resurfaced. Disputed that Lively was married during the height of the 2020 Black Lives Matter protest. I don't think that's what they meant. I think they meant that the fact that she had got married on a plantation, a former slave plantation, it resurfaced during the height of the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. She'd been married for considerably longer than that, but still. Undisputed that Lively dealt with negative press regarding her wedding venue, and that criticism was resurfaced in August 2024 as a result of defendant's smear campaign. Well, what do you mean undisputed that it was as a result of dependent smear campaign? Where does it say that? Where's the evidence? She's referring to her expert's report, but I haven't seen the expert report. Then they talk about problematic on-set behaviour whilst on Gossip Girl. Undisputed, blah, blah, blah. Interview about Lively's alleged problematic on-set behaviour without any supporting evidence or foundation. No. And that on August 10th, 2024, Abel shared the post with tag, noting that she liked that this is now getting some viral attention. That doesn't mean she made it get viral attention. Defendants were thrilled that Lively accepted the role for the film and cited to her sterling reputation. Sony executives privately observed that the negative publicity around Lively was driven by her own conduct. For instance, on August 11th, 2024, Tara Grant, Executive VP and Chief Communications Officer at Sony, wrote, "She orchestrated all this drama in a totally unsavvy and amateur way and basically threatened Sony and now is mad it backfired on her." Also, she did threaten Sony. Wow. On August 15th, 2024, Tim Rothman, Sony's CEO, observed that although Lively didn't deserve the backlash, she did bring it all on herself by refusing to listen to advice and by selling her products. Oh, On August 21st, 2024, Sony president Sanford Panitch wrote, "She did it to herself. If she just let him come to the premiere or didn't make all the cast unfollow him or kick him off the movie and did what everyone ever has done in show business for time and memorial, which is protect the show, then none of the sleuthing would have happened." That's 100% true. 100% true. The hair sell at the same time was epic level stupid. She wouldn't listen. She knows better. I love this. I love it. On August 9th, 2024, Ryan Reynolds wrote to Warren Zavala, his agent at WME, Leslie Sloan, Lively's PR representative, should definitely engage the studio and fight back in any way necessary. That's not disputed. That's actually not disputed. On August 10th, 2024, Ryan Reynolds wrote a message to author Colleen Hoover in which he stated that Baldoni is obviously a predator and sociopath. Oh my God. Undisputed that the cited document, Reynolds wrote a message to Hoover stating that it's amazing to me that you can have everybody involved with a production completely run away from a person who is obviously a predator and sociopath, and the narrative must first land on why a woman is the problem. Oh my God. On August 13th, 2024, Ryan Reynolds wrote a message to Patrick Whitesell, the executive chairman of WME, in which Reynolds described Baldoni and his shitbag partner as predators and frauds. Whitesell responded, "Ryan, I completely understand all of this. I hadn't been aware of all of this until you reached out to me a few weeks ago. Warren, Doug, and I had a conversation tonight, and we'll be deploying in the morning with the town. As you said, the most important thing here is that we don't let any of this have the negative effect on you two professionally, and that all the studios, important buyers, etc., know the truth about all of it. We won't rest until that is abundantly clear." Warren Zavala, who was also on the message, then wrote, "We've started our work in terms of analytics around the conversation and bringing our team together and suggested a strategy call with Reynolds prior to his call with Sony." Undisputed. Specifically, dependent summary of Whitesell's message admits that he wrote, "I hadn't been aware of this until you reached out to me a few weeks ago. But in these few weeks, I have learned the full picture of what Blake, you, and many others have endured." What the fuck did Ryan Reynolds endure? What are they saying Ryan Reynolds endured? On August 13th, 2024, Sloan exchanged messages with gossip reporter Sarah Nathan about her forthcoming article, which included some positive comments about Lively from Baldoni. Sloan wrote, "I hate this. This will hurt Blake. You're airing an animal." She pressed Nathan to remove Baldoni's quotes. At her deposition, Sloan testified that she was calling Baldoni an animal because I felt like it. Fuck's sake. But they had positive comments. And Leslie Sloan literally had them removed. Positive comments, Sloan had them removed. What the fuck? Undisputed. Of course it's not. But there is parts that is disputed. Specifically, plaintiff disputes defendant's characterization that Sloan pressed Nathan to remove Baldoni's quotes when it was Nathan who first offered to amend the article, suggesting we can take out some of the quotes from previous interviews. Will that help? I mean, I don't see there's any difference, for fuck's sake, but... On August 15, 2024, Sloan wrote to another gossip reporter asking him to change the wording of a headline about the feud between Lively and Baldoni. Sloan pitched the reporter a different story, which the reporter rejected. After reviewing the article, Sloan wrote, "You forgot to link the fat shaming and inappropriate kissing allegations." Disputed, the document-dependent site does not support that Sloan pitched the reporter a different story, which the reporter rejected. Undisputed that Sloan suggested remove an inflammatory adjective from the headline, which the reporter attempted to do but could not get approved because digital writers always put in an adjective when talking about any type of feud. It's an SEO thing. What? Undisputed that Sloan wrote, "You forgot to link the fat shaming and the inappropriate kissing allegations." Nope. Sloan testified that she viewed providing this negative information about Baldoni as an appropriate part of her work as a PR professional. Well, hold on a minute then. So how is it a smear campaign then if Wayfarer do the same thing? She says, "Part of my job is to try and balance out negative stories if they're negative and if they're untrue." Sloan further testified that it's okay to tell a reporter to include negative statements about someone if someone else in the press has already reported it. Okay. Disputes any interpretation, summary, inconsistent therewith, including the assertion that Sloan viewed providing negative information about Mr. Baldoni as an appropriate part of her work as a PR professional. But she said that. Also on August 15th, 2024, Ryan Reynolds wrote to Warren Zavala, his agent at WME, discussing how to get producer Alex Sachs to speak to the press, even on background, to advocate for Blake. Zavala stated that truly believes Blake and Jenny, but did not witness instances that they shared with her, so she can't corroborate what Jamie Candell, another member of their PR team, would need. So they would. Ryan Reynolds literally spoke to his agent about getting Alex Sachs to speak up for Blake. Interesting. It's undisputed as well. On August 17th, 2024, Warren Zavala directed Reynolds to provide an email contact to the Daily Mail. He wrote, "The reporter," it says reported, but I think it's supposed to be reporter, "had reached out via email to Leslie Sloan, Lively's PR person, now has connected with Sony's head of comms. She has both the short statement and the longer version. I imagine killing the story is their focus. The Daily thing needs to be killed. Someone playing the game at the same level as them in terms of the internet is what we need." Zavala subsequently told Reynolds they effectively got the Daily Mail not to print the story about Lively having the first assistant director fired. Undisputed. That's just absolutely batshit. During this period, defendants believed that Lively's press team was spreading negative information about Baldoni and using bots. Sarah Nathan told Jennifer Abel that she texted Leslie Sloan and challenged her on sharing negative information on Baldoni to media outlets. B. Jennifer Abel commented to Melissa Nathan that a Daily Mail story looked like a plant from Blake Lively's camp trying to steer the narrative. C. Melissa Nathan told Justin Baldoni Lively's camp are doing all of this themselves and it's really obvious. This is bots. It's disputed. Disputed that Lively's press team are spreading negative information about Baldoni and using bots, or that Sarah Nathan told Jennifer Abel that she texted Leslie Sloan and challenged her on sharing negative information on Baldoni to media outlets. Okay. So I'm going to stop and then move on to part 5.